Causal is a better way to work with numbers. Suppose you run a business and you want to build some forecasts that you can share with your team. You can do this in Causal and you'll get an interactive dashboard like this one that keeps everyone on the same page. Let's build this together in just a couple of minutes. All right, let's start creating some variables for the different parts of our model. The first thing we might want to include is the number of users that our business has today. And so we'll create a variable for the initial users, and maybe this is 100. Next, we might have some assumption around the growth rate of our business each month. And so we can create a variable for the growth rate. And we don't know exactly what this is going to be going forwards, but maybe we think it's between 5 and 10%. In Causal, we can actually write an expression like 5 to 10%, and Causal turns that into a distribution or a range for us. Now what we can do is we can take this initial users and increase it by the growth rate variable to get the total users after 1 month. So we can create a total users variable, and here we can write a formula to work it out. So this would be initial users times 1 plus the growth rate. And Causal's worked out the sort of range for the total users now. It's 105 to 110. So we can keep building our model out. Maybe we'll include something around the revenue per user. Perhaps this is $75. And now we can work out the total revenue by just taking the total users and multiplying that by the revenue per user. Maybe we have an idea of the profit margin of our business. If we're optimistic, maybe it's 50%. And we can work out the total profit, again, by doing a very simple formula like total revenue times profit margin. So Causal can show us the distribution of our total profit down here if my head weren't in the way. Now, the interesting part comes when we want to see how things work over the next few months. We can go into the time settings and say that we want this to be a monthly model from March 2020, so this month, maybe over the next couple of years. And now each of our variables can actually change over time. So let's go into the total users variable and make it so that instead of taking the initial users and increasing that, each month we want to take the previous value for the total users. So we want to take the total users at the previous time step and multiply that by the growth rate increase. We just have to define the value for the total users in the first month, and this will be equal to the initial users variable. And now what Causal does is work out the value for this variable at all points in time. So we can see that, for example, in February 2022, the total users will probably be between 311 and 867. And the really cool thing you might have noticed is that the total revenue and the total profit variables now automatically vary over time as well. We didn't have to do anything manual to get that to work. Causal handles all the sort of time stuff for us very nicely. And now once we're done with this, we can create some nice charts and visuals to see different variables. We can see a range for our total profit in each month. Maybe we want to show some of these on a table. So we can select some variables and create a table. And once we're ready, what we can do is essentially share this model with the rest of our team. So we can click present. And now what we have here is a dashboard showing all our model assumptions up here at the top and all of the visuals that we created underneath. And the nice thing is that this is actually all interactive. So we can go in here and tweak some of these assumptions and see what happens in different scenarios. So, if we're interested in seeing, what if our growth rate is a lot higher, maybe 10 to 20%, then what happens? And you can kind of change that and see everything update. But these changes don't get saved to your model. So this is a safe place for you and your team to play around with different things without accidentally breaking anything. Now, if we decide to build this out in a bit more detail and add a few more bells and whistles, we might end up with something like this. You can see that there's a lot more assumptions up here at the top and a lot more charts and tables underneath. We can expand some of these yearly summaries to see the monthly values. And this model is actually connected to live data in Google Sheets. And so some of these variables feed off actual historical values in order to do the forecasts. Thanks for watching.